President Trump's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, Judge Neil Gorsuch, has been questioned by the Senate Judiciary Committee, all part of the confirmation hearing process. In that session, he told the hearing that he finds it disheartening and demoralizing if anyone impugns the integrity or motives of federal judges.
Senator, I know the men and women of the federal judiciary. A lot of them. I know how hard their job is, how much they often give up to do it, the difficult circumstances in which they do it. It's a lonely job, too. I'm not asking for any crocodile tears or anything like that. I'm just saying I know these people, and I know how decent they are. And when anyone criticizes the honesty or integrity, the motives of a federal judge, I find that disheartening. I find that demoralizing, because I know the truth.
A bit of a show of independence from the man who nominated him there. But if he gets past the committee, then the full Senate will get a vote. And many people have been assuming he's a shoo-in. But is he? Constitutional lawyer Corey L. Brettschneider is Professor of Political Science at Brown University. So he's been listening, obviously, to the hearings. What stood out for him?
There were some, I would say, testy exchanges about abortion early on, where he was really just stating basic facts about the existence of precedents guaranteeing the right of abortion in Roe versus Wade, but refusing really to say the answer to the very important question that everyone wants to know, which is, will he overturn that case if he's on the Supreme Court, or even to give just basic information about his judicial philosophy, about the right of privacy. There were also exchanges about gay marriage, gay rights, about a case involving a trucker where the senator from Minnesota, Al Franken, accused him of lacking empathy. I'd say those were the top three.
When the selection process was on with President Trump, all the talk was of having a, as they say, pro-life candidate, wasn't it?
Yes.
And yet he chose someone who isn't necessarily that strongly pro-life, isn't it?
He did say, he was asked whether President Trump gave him instructions about how to vote on the court, and he reacted to that very strongly by saying that he absolutely would not, and in fact he would walk out of the room if he had ever been asked to vote a certain way. But he, in his writings, has actually suggested, on my point of view, to be against certainly the Casey decision. He says that explicitly, and he showed, I would say, a high degree of skepticism about the reasoning of Roe versus Wade. So his writings on assisted suicide and his asides about abortion suggest to me that although he's never conclusively said that he would overturn Roe versus Wade, that there's very serious reason to think that he might. And in fact, I have a piece in the New York Times yesterday that suggests that in fact there is another position that's possible in American politics. The usual assumption is that if the court overturns Roe, that the issue will devolve to the states who will be allowed to decide. But in his book, when it comes to assisted suicide, he suggests sympathy with the position that there should be a constitutionally enforced ban, for the most part at least, on assisted suicide. Now, would he do the same when it comes to abortion? I think he might. For instance, if he found that the fetus was a life, a consideration that his hero, he said yesterday, Justice White, holds. He didn't say that he's with Justice White on that position, but Justice White certainly did hold that position, that the fetus was a life. And what would follow from that is actually a court-imposed national ban on abortion. That would be a radical position, and it would be very different from any that any current justice has expressed.
Well, what you're saying is very, very interesting, because obviously it's such a big issue in the United States, and you're suggesting he's tougher on this than I think most people assume. So if he was explicit about his view, and let's say you were right about his view, and he was explicit about it, could he get through the process?
Oh, if he admitted that he thought the fetus was a life and there should be a national ban, I don't see any way that he could get through the process. There are two Republican senators, one from Maine and one from Alaska, and these Republicans are pro-choice, and I couldn't see them if he would have admitted this voting for him. It also would be such an upending of our current jurisprudence, it would really be reversing it in the biggest possible way, that would really call into question whether justice that is supposed to be interpreting current law and respecting precedent should be appointed.
Just talk us through the process. We've had this hearing. How long does this go on?
4 days, and we're today entering day 3, and the nominee will have a second round of questions. He's already gone through a first round from the Senate panel. This is the Senate Judiciary Committee, and they'll ask him a second round of questions today, including, my prediction is that the abortion question will be central.
Corey Betschneider there. News Just